So not a good look for the Chicago Sky, and I mean Angel Reese pictures at the start of this video mainly because, and she's probably in the thumbnail because she is the franchise player for the Chicago Sky at this point in time. This is not ideal. It's not ideal, but I also don't think it is quite as big a deal as people think. But I do think short term, I think Sky were overly ambitious. They were overly ambitious, and they pulled the Basketball Ireland on it. As in, they had the mock-ups for this huge, like, great facility without the money for the facility. So, obviously, look, with the Chicago Sky, we saw this right here. We saw the Skytown thing, and we saw this Chicago Sky latest in new WNBA trend building own practice facilities. Team is spending $38 million practicing for years in a suburban rec center. Players have recently passed over or left the team for better facilities in other cities. I also, something this size in Chicago, if it's in it anyway, there's no way you're getting what they were saying for 38 million. Surely not. Surely not. But, yeah, so the facility arms race, yada yada, all of this type of stuff. And it is on FO, on Front Office Sports. But, like, they have, obviously, they've been talking about this. They had the whole thing. I think they had a launch, if I'm not mistaken. I think they had a launch, and I'm not even sure they've started. Like, they've had this whole thing about their practice facility, a new state-of-the-art practice facility for the 2026 WNBA season. July the 25th, 2024, Sky, in partnerships with Village of Bedford Park, will break ground this fall in the new dedicated custom-built WNBA Performance Center, scheduled to be completed by December 2025. Yeah, that's not happening, considering the fact it is not started yet, and they didn't get a loan. They did not get approved for the loan. So this has been shared around, and I got sent this by about 10 different people in DMs on Twitter. And this is obviously from a special meeting of the president and board of trustees of the Village of Bedford Park, who Village of Bedford Park, in partnership with the Village of Bedford Park. And yeah, so obviously they're there 24-hour year-round access, community partnerships, and all of this other stuff. Like, talking about, like, it's a big thing. But if you guys have not seen right here, in this section right here, so obviously this is the whole thing. I don't think much of it has to do with the Chicago Sky. And it says right here, the attorney began discussing his conversation with the Chicago Sky. Chicago Sky backed off on a request for more money. So, obviously, it looks like Chicago Sky might have said here they backed off on a request for money, so they were requesting more money. President Brady said they were having trouble getting a loan. They're requesting the village front the money for them, interest-free. There's some logic to this. The village would have to be liable for all expenses like tenants. This will help proceed with construction. State that construction would not be completed by October, but possibly by April 2026. So the fact that they're saying possibly by the start of next season, it's not happening by April 2026. The fact that, like, well, it's just not by this date, maybe by this other date in the quite far future, but yeah, it looks like it's an almost certainty that, you know, it's just not going to be, it's not going to be there in the year of 2026. And look, that's okay. Like, realistically, I think that something like this is bound to happen. Like, or not even bound to happen, it's like, can happen, and it's not the end of the world. Obviously, this practice facility looks absolutely crazy. I'm shocked that 38 million can get you that, but fair play if Chicago Sky do that. And the only big positive thing is that the team is, your two main players are under contract till 2027, or till after through the 2027 season, and then obviously there is restricted free agency as well. But I think the Sky jumped the gun on this and were way too ambitious. So if you look at the New York Liberty, they're like, we want ours. They're in the same position. They have plans ready for everything to go, and they have a mock-up, and they're like 2027. This Indiana Fever, 2027. And it is like, it's genuinely looking like they're now just in a situation where it's going to happen. Like, they're looking for they can't get a loan. They're looking for the city to approve it. And it looks like the city are going to approve it. But it's just not going to be ready early enough. And I just think they were too ambitious. I think they were way too ambitious, being like, it's going to be done in a year. They were genuinely said they would have it ready in 2025. And this was announced in September. Like, they said it would be done within the year. I genuinely just think that they are just way too... we're way too ambitious on this. And look, I don't think long-term it's going to really affect the Sky. The on-the-court stuff is mainly what's going to affect it. Look, if you're the Chicago Sky, unless they get rid of the core rule in this current CBA, you've got Ariel Atkins, you've got Angel, you've got Camila Cardoso for at least 3 seasons. So you got 3 seasons of that big 3, and then you've got a bunch of draft picks. Not only that, like, you've got a whole bunch of guards in next year's draft that you can take. There's a whole bunch of good guards that you can have and bring in next year and be sorted. Like, when Sloot goes, you're going to have a whole bunch of new guards. But yeah, overall, I don't think it's the end of the world, but it's not a great look when they were so ambitious, being like, look, it's going to be ready in October of 2025. Was it December 2025? And now, like, even the most optimistic, if everything goes right, April 2026, and it's unlikely. Which means I don't know the likelihood of them literally going and changing their practice arena and stuff mid-season, which they probably will do because they're in a rec center right now. It's just awkward to do that. It is genuinely just awkward to do something like that. And yeah, it's something anyway that we should obviously look into. Well, it's something that could affect the Chicago Sky, but I don't think long-term it's going to really matter. And look, and that's the thing with all these kind of WNBA teams, and I stand by it. Like, every team has to look long-term. Don't try to rush things. Make sure everything's all good, because yeah, the WNBA is in a really good spot right now. You got your TV deal, which will more than cover all of this for all the teams. You just never know the way it's going to be in 5 years. Like, realistically, if Caitlin and Paige both blow their knees out again, well, in Paige's case, touch wood, none of that happens. The league's obviously in a much worse position. But if Paige is as good as advertised, if Caitlin keeps ascending, you're then looking in 2 years' time at them renegotiating the TV deal, and that renegotiated TV deal means that all of these stuff look like bargains and the league is going to boom. So anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.